You're here. What are you going to do? God already made the decision about what's best. It's for you to be here. Now, the question is, what are you going to do with it? And that's the journey. That's the test of life. Welcome to Heart of the Lion. My name is Anthony Strongheart. Part of teaching is to manipulate. Telling a colorful story is using colorful words, verbiage, tone, storytelling dynamics to engage the listener, to open up their mind so that an idea can be planted in it. If you just gave the idea straight, flat, with no manipulation, it wouldn't be a story, it wouldn't be entertaining, it wouldn't enter the mind. So manipulation is actually a tactic to enter deeply into the mind. And you have to use manipulation tactics to train yourself. So even if you want to learn something, you have to use manipulative tactics to get it into you. If you're training at the gym, you're using a manipulative tactic of taxing the muscle in just the right way to have the catalyst so that the muscle can grow in the dimensions and the way that you desire it to grow. And if you aren't willing to use those manipulative tactics, you're never going to grow. So manipulation is in a neutral way, is just a way of adjusting our environment to suit us. And there's nothing wrong with that. We've been made to have this idea that we're not allowed to do that. But the truth is, we are allowed to do that. It is a good thing to do that. But to what ends? But also to how much we're going to choose to do that and with what consequences. And there are all kinds of intentions around that, and there are all kinds of goals around that. And the goals span the full gamut of the universe. So there are goals within that manipulation that are pure, precious, and beautiful, and decrees of God. And there are goals within that are dark, evil, vicious, horrific spoutings of the devil. And there are goals that are all manner of shades in between. There are goals that are more neutrally aligned. And neutral medium doesn't mean righteous. Everything is dependent upon the relationships that are around it. And that is where the judgment is. But that judgment is so dependent upon so many different relationships and so many different vantage points. And it's a precious thing, and it's a beautiful thing, and it's a big wilderness to navigate. And God, that's why they say God is the only one that can judge. But I guess for me, what I understand is that the truth is that God is the only one that can judge. The truth is, behind all judgment, there is God's judgment, which is ultimate and ultimately takes precedent over any of our judgment. It lasts a much longer time. It will outlast any of our judgments. And judgment is also, like manipulation, a tool, and it is a tool that we need to learn how to utilize. That tool of utilizing our judgment is precious. It's important. It's part of life. It's a tool like a knife, and if you don't know how to use it, it'll use you. The judgment of God is coming whether we like it or not. And the judgment of the universe is there, whether we like it or not. And the judgment of man is going to be there, whether we like it or not. Both utilized by the divinely guided man and utilized by the devil man. And if you don't know how to use judgment, then it's almost like you don't know how to box. You don't know how to fight. You don't know how to run. You don't know how to walk. Just because you're running or walking doesn't mean you're doing something good. You could be hurting yourself or hurting somebody else. Just because you're fighting doesn't mean you're doing something bad. You could be saving somebody or saving yourself. So you have to learn to use these psychological, emotional, spiritual, most ultimately spiritual tools to judge, to manipulate, but to what ends, to your ends, and hopefully you're guided by God. Because that's the ultimate. Because in the end, if you're guided by the devil, you're going to pay for it. In the end, God's going to get you. God's got you, bro. You're in his sights, bro. I don't care how deep your machinations are, bro. When the truth is that your mind, your body, your soul, your life comes out of something. It came out of somewhere. And wherever it came out of, that's God. And so God's got your number, and you're going to die, and so am I. Your life is going towards God whether you like it or not. Your life is going towards God whether you like it or not. And so the question for you is, are you going to get on board with that train, or are you going to fight that train? And either way, you have to know how to use these tools. And even if you don't want to use these tools, you don't want to manipulate. This is the plight of the spiritual, hippy-dippy, peace-loving, everything. I don't want to use manipulation and judgment. Then the truth is, manipulation and judgment will be used against you whether you like it or not, both by the mundane human world and also by the spiritual world. And so you better learn to utilize, to balance, to harmonize, to cultivate in a healthy way, in the best way you can. And even checking out is a use of judgment. Even being like the Janes, oh, I don't want to hurt not even a fly, not a hair on the head of anything. That is a choice. That is a judgment. That is a manipulation. You're going to use your body to try and manipulate the world so that nothing moves from whence you came. But the truth is, you have come already. You already have affected the reality. And even you trying to stand still affects the reality. So judgment and manipulation are part of it. And a lot of us have trauma with those tools. I think probably the majority of people overutilize them in unconscious ways. It's the only way we know how to get into the world. That's the biggest problem. But that's exactly why the spiritual person must absolutely understand what manipulation is, what judgment is, how to deal with it. How to deal with it, importantly, how to see it, how to understand it, how to have a relationship with it, how to use it, and how to use it wisely. And that's a journey of life, is how to judge and manipulate wisely with God in our hearts, with awareness of the eternal being. Not as the primary, not as manipulation or judgment as the primary tool in life. God is the primary tool in life. But Muji says something really good. He says, be aware of God and drink your tea. Be aware of God and go for the walk. Be aware of all the things that you're aware of, and do the things that you need to do. So spirituality is not an excuse to try and check out of life. You cannot check out of life. You already checked in. You already checked in. You cannot check out of life. You're here. What are you gonna do? God already made the decision about what's best. It's for you to be here. Now the question is, what are you going to do with it? And that's the journey. That's the test of life. What are you going to do with it? You have to make tea. You have to walk. Even if you try not to walk, you're walking because you're already here. Your feet are on the ground. The pressure is already there. Even if you sit, one hip and the other hip are on the ground, and you're going to be shifting back and forth. And this is what walking is in the first place, is shifting back and forth. Pressure on one side and pressure on the other side. So you're already walking. God already made the judgment call. He already made the manipulation call, and the universe has manipulated the world into allowing you to be here. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to use that ability to judge and to manipulate? How are you going to use your time? And so this is the life. This is what is here. Anyway, these are some of the issues I wanted to wade into. And so we have to learn to use judgment, and we have to learn to use manipulation. And we've already made the decision. The question is, are you learning the wisdom? How to do it? And are you uncovering deeper meanings for yourself so that you can do it better? So that you can be more aligned with God? Are you aligned with God? And are you seeing the trappings of how people try to tell you to align with God that are really not alignment with God, and really more of a manipulation or a judgment on you? It's going to happen. It happens. It happens. Every priest, every shaman, everyone that you think is holy, every woman that you think loves you, every man that you think loves you. These are manipulations, judgments, and machinations of the divine, and also of the human. And can you see which one's which? From where it comes, with what attitude, with what grace or deviance is there, with what neutrality or accident or consciousness or awareness or lack thereof is there. Study, my friends. Spiritual jujitsu, spiritual warfare, spiritual construction, so that your family, your life, your heart, your guidance can be sheltered from the storm, from the rain, and from the hardship, and from the toil, and the challenges, and the machinations of life. God bless you all. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks for tuning in to Heart of the Lion. Chi.